What's up, YouTube? Today we will change the exhaust gaskets on a 1997 GMC Safari. These gaskets go in between the exhaust manifold and the white pipe. The van is running lean and throws a P0171 and P0174 code. Unmetered air is entering through the old gaskets. This was diagnosed with a smoke test. 12 hours ago, I soaked all 6 nuts with penetrating fluid. The nuts will be replaced by Dorman 3/8 by 16 nuts and split lock washers. Before you even begin, safety first. Now let's get to it. We're gonna begin at the passenger side flange. It has 3 nuts. To remove these 2, you can use a 15mm deep socket and a 12-inch extension. Now the hard one is going to be that guy right there. To get that nut out, you need a 15mm offset, preferably closed end ratcheting, because there's very little room over here to work with. But with the right tool, this becomes painfully easy. Now the driver's side is pretty straightforward. Get these 2 with the same 15mm and 12-inch extension. And the bottom one, because there's a curvature right here, you're not going to be able to fit your ratchet on there with the deep socket, so just use that wrench from earlier. The offset ratcheting box end. Once you remove all 6 nuts, this guy just slides out and you can pick out the old gasket. Now when you put your new one, make sure this metal part points towards the engine or up. And that's it. Now you just saw me put the gasket in place, but before you tighten anything back up, make sure it's on there on its own, sitting like that. Nice and tight, make sure the surfaces are clean. You can add a rim of O2 sensor safe gasket maker just to be safe, but I think that's good enough. Now if you only had to remove one gasket, and if you only had to change one gasket, you would still remove all 6 nuts, because this pipe wouldn't slide back as far as it should, unless you could remove these 3 studs, but that's a whole another can of worms. On the driver's side, to be able to pull this pipe back enough to slide out that gasket, you're gonna have to remove this frame that bolts onto the transmission. 2 15mm. The top one's very easy to access. The bottom one, the bottom bolt, you use a 15mm line wrench. Go from the bottom and you can crack it that way. Or you can take out the speed sensor and then you got easier access to it. Now we have enough room, or we have enough clearance to slide that gasket out. Make sure you're wearing your safety glasses. And there it is. Let's tighten everything back up. Everything's been tightened down to snug. These 3/8 by 16 do not fit the stock stud on this van. I had to reuse the old nuts, which is a big no-no, but I will find the correct size and swap them in the near future. We're gonna re-smoke test the van, but I'm pretty sure everything's good to go. I hope you guys learned something. Have a good day. Here's a note after the installation. We ran another smoke test and the gasket is sealing properly. Only this time smoke was coming out of this side of the flange for some reason. So what I did is just slather some O2 sensor safe high temp gasket maker, and everything seems to be sealed up properly. You guys like my work? It looks ugly, but it's functional.